Hey clan, welcome back to the yoga highlight segment. Today you're going to need some props. Hand towel, pen or pencil. We will not be writing with it, no paper necessary. Today is much less aggressive physically, so instead we're going to be focusing on yogi feet and the prayer hand position that we do in every single practice. So first, feet. Lift your arches. It's something we hear, but what does it mean? How do we do it? What does it affect? I'd like you to have a seat with me if you're not already there. And I want you to be in a position that you can look at and touch your own feet as I'm giving you examples, so you can make that body-mind connection. I'm choosing to sit this way, not because it's necessarily comfortable, but because I want you to be able to view my soul as I talk about it. So if you have not gotten your supplies, please pause and meet me back here on the mat. The arch, right here on the inside of the foot, if it collapses down to the floor with the ankle from the outside rolling in slightly, we sometimes call this a flat foot. Collapsing into the arch of the foot releases the ability to maintain the thighs and the hamstrings, which in turn no longer gives support to the back. So our feet are truly our foundation. They set the tone and the foundation for all of our form, our ability for our legs to be targeted appropriately so that they may support the low back, so the back may support the shoulders, so that we can lift and float the chest effortlessly with less pain. Nice and long posture starts at our feet. Bringing your attention to the outside of the sole of our feet, from pinky toe all the way down to the heel. This outer line is a point where we want to roll the ankle from the inside slightly out in order to apply more pressure here. This in turn lifts the arch up away from the floor. We don't want to release weight from the big toe, the ball of the foot, or the heel. It is this segment here in the center that we want to feel lighter and rise away from our floor. Picking up the other foot briefly, since this isn't an exercise, just kind of bringing your attention to that pinky. You're wanting to bring the weight to the outside of the sole in order to lift the arch away from the floor and give us that support that we need. Remembering that anytime we're lifting the arch away, we're still pegging down through the big toe. We still have pressure here at the ball of the foot the whole way across from side to side. It is just this segment here that we want to rise up and get lighter. Moving on to foot positions, there are oh so many. I'm turning sideways so you can see my form better. Feel free to move wherever you need to see the screen. Starting with a flexed foot. Flexed foot is the heel moving away from the body while the ball of the foot and the toes are moving in. Very active, working the entire leg, but mainly firing up from the knee down. This is more of a shin exercise on top of the foot. In order to peel those toes up, you're really flexing here in the front of the shin to bring those toes in towards the body. Second, we have an active foot that looks like a neutral position. However, I'm working super hard in this pose. If I rest this leg on the floor, I have an active foot. I hope you can see that my toes are flexing up towards the body, but I'm not allowing the top of the foot to come in or the heel to move away. And that's what is neutral about it. If my foot were on the floor in a standing position, it looks just the same, except for my toes are actively lifting. Neutral foot. neutral foot, relaxed, neutral position. Sometimes you can have a neutral active. Then we have the floint. I'm not super fond of that word. I don't think it's thrown around a lot. It looks like a demi-point. Here, the heel is coming in towards the body. The ball of the foot is pushing away. However, the toes don't follow the foot. I am pointing through the foot and not pointing through my toes. My toes continue to pull in towards me and spread. Think about making space in between those toes at the same time. A demi-point in dance is here versus what we're familiar with most commonly, a point. And there we are in that well-known, more familiar territory where not only the foot is pointed, but the toes point away as well. These exercises are really important to do. Be mindful and knowledgeable of your feet. Switching sides, let's go through that just one more time. We have flexed. Really feel how everything is firing up in the legs. That heel pushes away, the ball and toes come in towards the body or towards that shin. Coming to just an active foot that's in a seemingly neutral position. It is a neutral position. It's just really fired up. Relaxing into a neutral position. Bring the heel in towards the calf. Push the ball of the foot away and at the same time draw the toes in towards the shin. And then spread them. Lastly, the one we all know, maybe we love, hate it, pointing not only through the ball of the foot, but also the toes. An interesting tidbit about our feet, we commonly talk about our chakras being the 7 chakras. And they're ranging from the root all the way up to crown. However, we have chakras all through the body. Something rarely talked about is that our foot chakra is in the ball of the foot, and it is a half chakra. And so this chakra is not made complete until the feet are joined in something like Tadasana, mountain pose, where we leave the heels apart, but the feet are joining here to make a complete chakra. Our feet are super important. They are the first place energy enters the body from the earth, and they're the last place for energy to leave the body into the earth. Personally, an example would be upward facing dog. If I wasn't paying attention to my feet and they were rolling, my heels rolling to the outside because I'm not engaging them, I feel a lot heavier through my hips. I feel a lot more pressure and pinching right across the low back. My hips and thigh bones are now rotated. They've pivoted because I've rolled to the outsides of my ankles. When I activate them, everything comes into alignment and it's easier to float my weight. So back when, prior to me getting serious about my feet, I would be in upward facing dog and I would feel this issue in my shoulders, this issue in my back. And so I would funnel and channel more energy into my shoulders and my back, pushing my feet even further from my mind. Always keeping in mind that we are one functioning unit despite all of our parts. We are one from our toes all the way through the fingertips to the crown of the head. We are one functioning being, and everything needs the other in order to be correct, feel good, heal, and progress. Speaking of unity, unifying chakras, moving on to our mudra, which we call prayer hands, Namaste Mudra. The Sanskrit word for this is Anjali, Anjali Mudra. Mudra means seal. So any finger we're choosing to touch together in a mudra, we are making a seal of those elements. Each fingertip represents a different element, sealing them together, channeling them, vibrating through them. Anjali means to salutate or to offer. The hands are whole, they are not half chakras. However, they represent the coming together of the left and right side of the body. A unity, a balance, even further signified by touching in the center of our body, heart's center. To do this mudra properly, there's actually a small gap at the very last set of knuckles here, at the base of the fingers, just above the ball of the hand, here. Just a slight gap. So we are not sealed all the way up. The seal is in the fingertips and the first two sets of knuckles. The seal is in the thumbs, the heel of the hands, and then the outer edge of the hands. What this does is it creates inside, right in here, a small gap, a little pod, signifying a seed that can grow, signifying a flower that has yet to open, and even furthermore, signifying our heart and its openness. I think too often, Namaste Mudra, prayer hands, goes neglected. It is done more out of procedure rather than out of knowledge and intent. And I would really like us all to be more mindful of our full body, mindful of our foundation, mindful of what this means and why we do it and what that means to you individually, because we're all going through something different. It has different meanings on different days to different people. Moving on to our closing exercise for the feet. Grab your towel, grab your pen or your pencil. Starting out with our towel to get the feet warmed up, open it up lengthwise. You can do this seated in a chair, on the couch, wherever is comfortable for you. You're going to plant your heels down. Keep them in place. Place the ball of your foot on the edge of your towel. Reach open with the toes. Scrunch the toes in like they're fingers grabbing at something. Lifting through the center of the foot as if you want to lift up the arch, right? The bone on the very top of the foot needs to rise up. We're scrunching. You'll feel an intense amount of power right in here in the center, sometimes inducing Charlie horses. If so, take it easy for a moment, drink some water. Without releasing the heels, I'm going to lift the towel up a little bit, release the towel, put the ball of the foot down, grab. Lift through the arches first. That bone needs to rise up. Your foot should look like a bridge from heel to toe. It should be making a rounded dome position. Lift the foot, release the towel, and keep going until you have the whole towel pulled in. It's not a race, it's more about form and feeling it. If you don't feel it, you're not going slow enough. You're not being mindful enough to target the muscles consciously using the feet. All the way in, all the way in. And we reverse. So we crunch the foot in, touch the tips of the toes down, and slide it forward. Lift those feet, or I'm sorry, lift those toes up towards your shins before you lift the ball of the foot. Crunch. Toes point towards the floor, the toes down, push it away. This can be done several times. Slower is better. Remembering that if we don't feel it, slower yet. More mindful. Even doing little butterfly delt raises, if done mindfully with 1 pound weights or even with no weights, will eventually tire out the shoulders. I can choose consciously to activate any area of my body and make it work harder for me. If you so choose, repeat this exercise, or perhaps after we're done, you can go through everything in additional time. You may stay seated for this exercise. I feel like I can show this better standing. I'll be placing my utensil, my writing utensil, down and beneath the arch of my foot. Here I'm going to plant the heel, plant the ball of the foot, and I will be crunching to try to lift the arch and entire center of the foot up and away from the floor. However, notice that they don't move on the floor. I hope you're able to see that in the video. But instead, I am making space, lifting enough that I could fit a finger under there, right? And back down. What I am not doing is sliding my foot backwards and using the toes. We'll try that again. Other foot, so you can see from the other direction. Placing it down, heel plants first, putting my arch over top of the pen or pencil, and then pulling up with this bone right here on the top of the foot up. Avoiding onto the tops of the toes, or tips of the toes rather. The ball of the foot stays planted. This can take some practice. This will definitely make you mindful of your body and create a lot of stability in our much needed foundation. Going for about 10 of those on each side. I have one last exercise for our healthy yogi feet. The active foot in this neutral position can be really tough to feel out. For a long time when I was new, nobody explained to me that it was a push-pull within the body. So instead, I was just flexing. I thought active foot meant flex it. But they're different things. Now, it is activated, but when it's in a neutral position, it's a totally different feeling. This is a calf muscle fighting the shin muscles. So my heel wants to pull in towards the body, that's my calf, but I need these muscles here to fight against it and pull the top of the foot in. They're working against one another versus working in tandem to just gently keep the foot in that position. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes it can be easier to feel that out with a towel. You're gonna take it, fold it lengthwise. You can fold it lengthwise again if you like. You're gonna lasso around that foot. Push into the towel with the ball of the foot. Now, pull with the shin to release the pressure on the towel. Feel the difference. Go back and forth a couple times. Push and feel how this relaxes for the most part. This muscle is doing all of the work, our calf. Now switch. The calf is elongating. You're going to feel these little muscles right here on either side of the shin bone firing up. We want to engage both. Active, super actively engaging both. Slowly push into this towel while continuing to try to slow the push with these muscles. These muscles are slowing down the ball of the foot moving away. And see if that doesn't feel different for you. The toes are active, pulling in. It took me a long time to figure this out. And I'll continue to look for exercises that help to feel this in our body. Let's try the other side. Towel goes over the ball of the foot. At first, we push the ball of the foot away, and we feel how we elongate and we flex. Now we flex, bringing the top of the foot in, and we feel that calf elongate. One more time. Push and flex. In our flex, our toes are peeling in towards the body. We're going to focus on using the muscles here on the shin to slow down the foot push, which is being controlled by the calf. Super active. Play around with that one and let me know how it goes. I hope that this has been informative. If you have any ideas, questions, or comments, please leave them below and I'd be happy to get back to you.